Let's see, I guess it's going. Yeah, it's going. Okay, it's 3 o'clock on Sunday, and today we have replaced the diesel lift pump with the modern version and the required fuel line that's needed to make it work on this engine. Bled the fuel filter, run the engine with a load on it, meaning tied to the dock and in gear at 1500 RPM, which is more than 3/4 throttle for this boat with this prop, and it just ran like a top for half an hour and didn't run out of fuel or anything. When we tried to run it at 1600 RPM or higher, it would smoke badly, and black smoke, and seemed to load up, which is kind of indicative of what happens with a diesel engine when you feed it more fuel than it can burn because it's got too high a load on it. And so I'm wondering, when the prop was repitched a couple of years ago over in Alameda, if they put the wrong pitch on it. I'm going to have to check with some other Fisher 30 owners and see what they have for propellers, if I can find anybody who's still got the original Volvo engine like I do. And because that's my theory now, is that it's pulling too stiff a pitch. The propeller is not letting the engine rev as highly as it should at full throttle. So it's kind of like putting a car in fifth gear and trying to climb a steep hill at 30 miles an hour. It's not something the engine really can do. So I think, all in all, I think the engine is perfectly healthy, but I think if there is a glitch, and I'd say there is, that is what it is. Been through the fuel system and everything's working fine. Always starts right up, idles well, runs well up to a point, and then it doesn't want to accept more throttle. So this is pretty consistent with what it's done all along, and I'm too tired now I've got to do cleanup on the boat before I take it out. But I think when we take it out next time, if we don't run it at excessive RPM, that it will not die at all. My guess is I can take it out there at 1500 RPM and run it for several hours, and then nothing will happen, except that we'll get a several-hour boat ride. So that's where we are now, and we'll see what happens with the next actual trial, but I don't see why it will be particularly different than running tied to the dock and with the gear engaged. It's still pushing the prop just as hard. So anyway, we did pretty well. The actual changeover was pretty fast. We learned a couple of little tricks. Didn't take any special tools. I think it took a 12 millimeter box wrench, 19 millimeter box wrench, 15 or 17 millimeter socket, and a 10 millimeter wrench and a screwdriver, and just a bunch of clean paper towels and a couple of rags, and a little plastic catch basin and some of those oil absorbent pads, and that was the whole merry end. Not difficult at all.